This is what an 0-14 fantasy football team looks like in the 2024-25 NFL season. Starting off at quarterback, Anthony Richardson was a projected top 5 quarterback in fantasy football before this year and ended up being QB 25. At RB1, Breece Hall had a very underwhelming year after being projected top 3 in fantasy and ended up being RB 16. At RB2, Travis Etienne was one of the most underwhelming players in fantasy football this year, and he was ranked number 9 before the NFL season and was ranked 35th at the end of it. At wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill, who was projected to be the number 1 or 2 overall pick in fantasy football this year, ended up being the 18th ranked wide receiver at the end of the year. At wide receiver 2, Chris Olave, due to injuries, ended up being the 94th ranked wide receiver this year in fantasy. At the tight end position, Dalton Kincaid, who you could honestly argue was the biggest bust in fantasy football this year, was a projected top 5 tight end and ended up being the 30th ranked tight end at the end of the year. At flex, Michael Pittman Jr. ended up being the 41st ranked wide receiver this year in fantasy after being ranked a top 12 wide receiver before the season. And finally, at kicker, Harrison Butker, due to injuries, ended up being the 28th ranked kicker. Comment if you had any of these guys in your fantasy football team this year.